In today's show, we discuss ULEZ, ULEZ, the thin edge of the wedge for Britons.
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Taya Baya. Taya, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you're keeping safe and well. And say hi to the audience.
What the hell, Tony? What you gonna do, eh? Just gradually gets worse and worse with you. Anyway, hi audience.
Come on.
Hi audience, how are you? I'd like to share with you the wise words.
You know what? This is the bit I'm gonna have to say in future. Just gonna say hello, Taya, say hi to the audience because that's working. And now we can skip this next bit and go straight to the topic, no?
I'd like to share with you the wise words of Dr. Isaiah Henry Atamba, who wrote, and I quote, "Women can be mysterious, but the thorns of a marula tree are always perplexing." Now, I know what you're thinking, Tony. You're thinking, eh? Because I myself on this occasion thought, huh? And then it struck me. Do you know what? The marula tree has no thorns.
What?
Think.
What?
Wow. Amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah, this guy, I'm sure wherever you'll get these quotes from, and there's millions of them by the sound of it, he is probably revered back in his home country. Is he Nigerian, by the way?
He originally came from Central Africa, I believe,
Right.
based on his name. We don't have a Mau Atamba, so
Okay.
Isaiah Henry, but he lived in Ikorodu land, as I told you before. He lived in Ikorodu land. He's buried there. When I travel back to Nigeria, I'm going to look for his grave and all that sort of thing.
Okay. And was he known as a famous comedian back home?
Comedian?
Sure, he must be with all.
No, I believe that he was a philosopher, a Department of Philosophy, in either no, it wasn't. I was going to say Nigeria's first university, but no, I believe that was the University of Nsukka. He was in the University of Ibadan, which was in colonial times was quite a famous university and had a very famous medical program. A lot of really great doctors graduated from that university, but he was, I believe, in the philosophy department.
Okay.
Department of Philosophy, sorry.
I wish I hadn't asked, but there you go. Anyway, I'm still not convinced. I still think this is just one big wind up. But
you do realize that today today his quote on one of your posts.
Yes, I know.
On Facebook,
I
got a thumbs up.
Purposely ignored it.
You've got a thumbs up. So you are the one who is hopefully the time will come when you realize that you're a true outsider in all this.
Maybe. Right, let's move on. But before we move on with the topic of today, I want to again thank you, our listening and watching audience, for all your comments and feedback. Please keep that coming in, and certainly come and join us in the hundreds if you want to on TNT Talkers, which is the Facebook group that's fully open, where you can actually chat with us directly and we will respond pretty much immediately, as long as we're not asleep, of course. But otherwise, come on there and chat with us. But if Facebook is not your thing, then please continue to like and subscribe even to our show on whatever platform you happen to be consuming it on. We do value your support, and yes, please continue to do that. Right, let's move on with today's show. And this is actually one of mine. And the title of today is ULEZ, the thin edge of the wedge for Britons. Now, most of you, in the UK, well, I hope most of people in the UK will be familiar with the term ULEZ. Do you want to explain it, Tayo?
Not particularly. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
ULEZ is a scheme of some sort,
Yeah.
which to me is the modern equivalent of a highwayman who hangs around the boroughs of London and puts his hand into your pocket and takes £60 out if you are silly enough to not know that he's there and pay him £17 up front or something ridiculous like
Stupid.
that. I'm not a Londoner. I don't live in London. I'm only passing through your crummy city. And yeah, for some blooming reason, I got to hand you money. We're going to discuss all this. So all you need to know is that I find the scheme infuriating, insulting, dishonorable. I don't understand why it isn't illegal. It probably is illegal. I just don't have the money to challenge it in court and take the government to court, because His Majesty's highway should be free for me to traverse. Why am I paying all these tolls left, right, and center forward? Anyway, we'll get into all that.
Okay. Just for the benefit of those people who've never heard this before, ULEZ stands for Ultra Low Emission Zone. And it's been set up to try and keep major cities, because it is being extended across the globe to major cities. They're putting something similar to this, where your car, if you're traveling in the city, it has to be a certain age car and not emit greenhouse gases, basically poor ones. So if your car is probably less than 5 years old, then you are exempt from paying this additional fee. However, if your car is probably older than that, you want to drive through London, and it used to be the centre, then you would have to pay this daily charge. So you'd think twice about going into the centre of London. But what's happened recently is the good old mayor of London, Mr. Khan, has extended the ULEZ zone. No longer central London. It now pretty much covers most of the boroughs. And so this has put a lot of Britons living in those boroughs of London up in arms, because they're having to pay this ridiculous fee just by living in the area they live in, which seems a bit absurd, without them even travelling in. It's not like they've got an exempt pass. They literally have got to pay it every day or get rid of their car. And cars are not cheap. So yeah, there's a little bit of a ding dong about this whole emission zone issue.
And annoyingly, of course, guess who doesn't have to pay?
The people in government.
The people in government, the MPs, for example, they don't pay.
No.
I don't see how that is legal either. How do you make a law that affects everyone else but doesn't affect you? That kind of a law should, I mean, I think we probably need a constitution in this country. I mean, a written one, because that should just be anti-constitutional. You can't make a law that doesn't apply to you, because that's why you make these stupid laws, because you think, it's okay, it's not going to apply to me. And then you can sit in parliament forever if you're lucky. It's ridiculous.
You would have thought that if it was a genuine thing, they could make exceptions for certain people in the community. For instance, doctors and nurses. Pretty important people, have to travel into London all the time, and some live on the outskirts of London and commute in. They still have to pay. They're not exempt. And I would dare say most of the general public in the UK would deem doctors and nurses far more important than any of these mangy MPs that sitting in Parliament. But why are the MPs exempt and nobody else is? I think, like you, I think that is disgraceful. And you're right, there should be something done about that, because that is not right.
Torches and pitchforks. we need to take this torches and pitchforks thing far more seriously. I've been calling for this since 2020, and no one is doing anything about it. Enough is enough. Now, I can't obviously call for violence, because otherwise I'll wind up in prison or something. But I think we can have a conference in London, and we just take the pitchforks and the torches along as symbolic of our angst. And if we happen to light the torches and actually use the pitchforks, well, these things happen, but it's not planned exactly. I mean, it'll be. I'm planning for it to be a peaceful gathering, but I mean, let's put it like this: it's a peaceful gathering, but hopefully, those in Parliament, they'll look out and they'll see it and they'll go, okay. They are angry because the next time we show up, we might not be quite so sanguine about and what's the word, peaceful in our deliberations. Look, there's something wrong here. First of all, I'm already fed up with the multiple taxation. Until someone mentioned it, I hadn't worked out that when I drive up to a petrol station or a gas station, as Americans would say, and I put my diesel into my car, I know that my diesel is being taxed and I'm paying tax on it. And well, those are the breaks. That's how we live. But then I go to pay and then I'm charged VAT. Now, hold on a second. That means I'm paying VAT, I'm paying a tax on my tax.
Yes.
Well, that doesn't make any blooming sense.
How can you tax that though?
How can you tax my tax?
I know it's taxing. It's the taxing on the. Yes, it is. I'd have to double check that, to be honest. Whether
you don't have to double check it because I double checked it.
Oh, is it? Is that genuine then?
It's genuine.
VAT on the tax.
If you go and you buy £10 fuel, whatever it is, that £10 is being taxed. So when you look at your VAT, it comes out to the VAT on the £10. It's not coming out to part of it.
But doesn't that work everywhere else though? Because where you pay VAT, value added tax, that's the whole point of it. It's an additional value. So the price of the item doesn't actually, no, that's true. Because most items haven't got the tax added to it.
No.
It's just VAT.
I can't think of anything else where it's got the tax. You're not taxed on anything else. VAT is the tax on the thing you're buying.
Yes, I get that. No, but
unfortunately, fuel is different.
Yeah, fuel is different. You're right.
So what do you mean? What do you mean you're taxing me on my tax? That doesn't make any blooming sense.
That is so true. I never actually thought of that. Yeah, we should be up in arms here.
We should be up in arms. So what the hell is going on?
Wow. I never thought of it that way. Because yes, you're paying value-added tax on things that you buy. Not everything, but a lot of things. So that's an additional tax.
I mean, on fuel, I believe we're paying about 60% tax already.
Yeah.
So on £10, I'm paying £6 in tax. So if you charge VAT on the £4, that would be understandable. I mean, it wouldn't be welcome.
No,
but it'd be understandable.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be welcome because I've already paid tax, so to speak. But okay, all right, we'll let it go. There's £4 there. Okay. But no, you're charging me on the £6 that you've already. But it doesn't even make sense because you're charging me, you're taxing me on tax.
I need to check that, I need to check that because I'm not convinced that's correct. Surely someone would have spotted that by now.
We have spotted it. We've been saying we mentioned this before.
No, but has no one else mentioned this before? Surely that doesn't seem right to me. Are you sure the VAT is not on the bit that isn't taxed?
It's on the whole blooming shebang.
Wow.
I wish I had about it's in the car.
Receipt, receipt.
But they're in the car. I mean, I can't, unless you want me to go to the car, and I don't know how I'd show it to you anyway.
No,
but still.
Okay, that's interesting. We'll have to look at that separately. I'm intrigued by that statement. That's an absolute rip-off if that is the case.
Yeah, well, rip-off Britain, isn't it? And what about this? I pay road tax. So do you. So does everyone.
Yeah.
We all pay road tax. Why are we then coming up with ULEZ schemes and blah, blah, blah? Our road tax really ought to cover all that.
It should. You're right. You're right. It should.
Why am again, you're taxing me and then you're taxing me on a different tax. It's just ridiculous. It's gotten out of hand. The whole thing's just a rip. Actually, there are funny conspiracy theories running around. And one of them is the Let me just get a hold of it here because it's such a peculiar one. Oh yeah, the crypto smog, the crypto smog markets conspiracy. Have you heard of this?
No, it's not
Okay,
a conspiracy show, but go on. It's part fuel and cars. Yeah, let's do it. Go on.
the crypto smog market posits that ULEZ is not about environmental health, but about monetizing air pollution via a secret blockchain-powered marketplace. Every vehicle's exhaust emissions are measured, tokenized, and traded on an unregulated platform where the global elites profit from the commodification of smog credits. You know, it's that thing is is that thing we're talking about, isn't it? Huh? The thorns of the marula tree. That isn't there. You gotta, you don't see these things because
I
we're
think
not
that's a
part of it.
little bit far-fetched. Whoever put that conspiracy out was probably smoking some wacky backy or some sort, because that's a little bit far-fetched. I mean, big claims that I have to provide evidence, so I'd
Well,
like to see.
they're not going to be able to, are they?
No,
No
of
one's
course.
going to be. Can you imagine what would happen if it actually got out that Bill Gates and what's the man's name? The richest man. What's his name? The
Who?
Tesla chap.
Elon Musk.
Bill Gates and Elon Musk
Well, they
and
don't like one another, surely.
all those guys were out there just tokenizing our ULEZ thing. It'd be
What
ridiculous.
nonsense. What not? Sorry, that's just nonsense.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, if you don't like that one, what about the alien one?
Go on. I'm always up for alien
You're always up
stories.
for aliens, yes. I thought you might be. The alien one posits that ULEZ is a secret collaboration with extraterrestrials. Right? The aliens are pushing ULEZ to reduce emissions and ensuring humanity doesn't accidentally terraform the planet because they can't live in a more polluted
Environment.
planet, yeah, environment.
So they want us to clean up our planet so that they can live here. So we should
Yes.
actually gas it up even more, because it's not really
That,
prone
that's
to
what
have.
that's what's saving us right now from a total takeover by the lizard people.
Oh, dear me.
No?
I mean, no.
Okay. The
Okay.
electric vehicle mind control chips conspiracy? No. They all are. Like, this conspiracy website is very interesting.
I mean, it's just nonsense. I mean, but you need to share the website, because I'll share it with one of my conspiracy friends. She'll probably
okay.
lap it up, bless her.
Oh, don't you think? I'm not sure you're doing this. No. I don't think you should. I don't. That's not fair. No. Anyway, no. On a serious level, we pay road tax.
Yeah, we do.
And again, I don't benefit from London directly.
No.
So especially if I'm driving through London, why am I paying you tax? Why am I? Oh, I think it started out.
Well, you're
in
coming
Birmingham.
into their area, aren't you? That's the point.
Well, it's not what you mean their area. It's my country too.
Yeah, I know, but it's their area. London
It's
is
not
their
their area. It's my area. It's my country as well.
I mean,
we can't just.
Well, no, because if you could say that to Europeans and say, well, you can't come in here. If you're coming in here, you need to have a visa. You need to have a passport. You know, it's my country. You can't just come here. But the same in a way in London.
Hang on. What? I think you've argued against yourself there.
No,
Europeans don't have a natural right to be in the UK.
No, it's right, but we don't have a natural right to be in London. We don't live in London.
Of course we do. It's part of our country. There's no visa requirements to go into London.
No, I know, but you're having to then pay because you're gassing up their area. They could make that justification for sure.
We're gassing up the entire planet if you look at it like that.
I know, but their area, they got to live there.
Why don't we have ULEZ from the United Nations and then we all have to pay? It's ridiculous.
Well, no. I'm not saying ULEZ is a good thing. I think it's a terrible thing. But what I can see from their point of view, why they would come up and say that you're coming into my area where we live, I've got to manage it, so you're going to have to pay as well.
Well, no, you have to move out. I mean, if you're living in an area that is heavily congested and you can't lean on your mayor to decongest the roads with more sensible planning. And by the way, not always having every single road that you turn down blocked off because some idiot is working on it.
I know. What's that all about?
The M1.
I
I
know,
can't
it's a
remember the
joke.
last time I drove down the M1 and there wasn't some blooming roadwork somewhere.
It's 50 mile an hour
Or-
guaranteed all the way
Sorry?
up. It's 50 mile an hour. I mean, just for the benefit of our foreign listeners, the UK is its national speed limit is 70 miles an hour, and the M1 is one of the main motorways that go from London up north to the north of the country. And we used to be able to go on that road and do 70 miles an hour for huge stretches of it. Now it's practically all 50 miles an hour, but because it's 50, because they're saying roadworks, so they're they've actually squeezed the road size because they're building, and you never see anybody working. You see the odd one or two, but they've got miles and miles and miles of cones set up for non-existent work, it would seem, and it is very frustrating. I get what you're saying.
Okay, so I have to play devil's advocate. Well, not devil's advocate. I have to explain. You don't see them if you travel during the day. They tend to work at night.
I've been up there at night, all through the night, and I still haven't seen many of them.
Okay, well, I've seen them at night, so early mornings, say 3, 4 in the morning, 1 o'clock, so that kind of thing. But when they're finished, like years later, when they're finished and they've cleared off, and you're driving down, they go, well, what did they do? Because you don't see any difference. There's no blooming difference. Come on, what did they spend for? And by the way, I posted on TNT Talkers, our Facebook group, I posted a video of the Chinese building a highway that was fully automated building.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I saw that they built a train station,
No,
brand
not train
new
station.
From scratch in one day.
Well, no, I'm talking about a motorway.
Okay.
They've automated it. It's all machines.
Okay.
So it's just a rolling with machines. To build it, yeah, just machines, and it's all automated. So you've only got, I don't know, 10 people on it, and the rest of it is fully automated.
Wow.
There's a video, so okay, you should.
I didn't see that one. No, I didn't see that. I
invite the audience to go and find. It's not difficult to find.
Is it on TNT Talkers though? Let's bring our audience to TNT Talkers then.
Yeah.
There you go, to see the video that Tyre's posted about the Chinese building a road, automated building. So does that mean that they could do miles and miles 24/7 because these machines work?
That's correct. That is correct. Or Virgin Highway, just going to the country, like there's nothing there before. So you imagine all they want to do is just repair something. Imagine how quickly they can do that.
Okay, I doubt if they could build new roads from that, because you've got to, you've got to check the area underneath. You've got to make sure there's no substance.
Well, I think it'd be survey. I think the surveying and the building are two different stages.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't point it out in that direction and say go for it. I mean, that would be ridiculous. I mean, someone's got to do the surveying. You've got to map how you're going to, where you're going, and how you're going to, and all that sort of thing. But once it's all been programmed in and everything, then it's just go for it.
Interesting. That is fascinating. If that,
and I'm pretty sure. I'm just thinking that we should just throw out all these contractors here, tell them very sorry, pee off, and we're bringing the Chinese, and they'll be done in 3 days. Because I don't know what you guys are up to. But although someone did say on it, funny enough, I was listening to it this morning, a video on YouTube, and the person said his father used to work in the Department of Works and Housing or something. I don't know what department that is. Power company for East Midlands or something. And his father, who's dead now, his father, said when he was managing the workers on the power lines who used to go up and make repairs and whatnot, they had surge capability. If something went wrong, they could assemble a whole bunch of people and they will go off and they'll fix it and work on it. And then afterwards, those workers were not seen as being excess because they could keep on with the maintenance. They said they were always busy. There was always something to maintain. So everything ran smoothly. Now, someone started having this idea of saving money. So they got rid of all those people. and started subcontracting instead.
Right.
So they would contract out the work, but he said, here's the problem. They contracted to person A. Well, person A doesn't want to do the work, so he subcontracts to person B. Person B doesn't want to do the work, subcontracts to person C. And they keep on subcontracting until you get to the bloke with the spanner or
Actually doing the
screwdriver
work.
who actually does the work. But then when the smelly stuff hits the fan, you can't surge like that, like you used to be able to. And this is so the whole thing is extremely unproductive,
Yeah.
and very expensive. And I have a
So it's
feeling
not
that
saved money at all, has it?
no, not really, because everybody's putting on their profit on top. You got all this bunch of middlemen and everything.
Do you know?
So I think the people working on the highways, I don't think that if the government went to XYZ and said, look, handle this and make sure it's you and make sure you're done, and that person had the staff, the workers, I suppose they could do it.
They could do it.
But if you're going to spend 6 weeks signing a contract and getting because you're spending 6 weeks working on the contract.
Yeah, exactly.
Not working on the road.
No, indeed.
See what I'm saying?
I've seen a lot of this actually firsthand, strangely. The reason for that is when you employ staff, you can manage your staff, but they've got certain rights. You've got to pay them, you've got to look after them, health and safety, holiday, sick pay, blah, 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 and all the rest. So there's quite a big expense. However, you can ask them to do stuff and they should do it within the realms of their job. When you subcontract it out, it's all based, as you say, on contract. So you've got to iron all the contract out, which takes time, a lot of legal spiel to ensure that you're covering all the bases, but even then it gets missed. And then the people who are then contracted to do the work, obviously, they're responsible for the work. But if you want a change to something, if it was your own staff, you just say, okay, I need you to change this. They'll do it. But a contracted company can't because it's not in the contract. It has to be changed or added. And that then takes more time or
it's called a variation, isn't it? It's called a variation.
And that's not built into contracts. Contracts are normally built with a certain element that encapsulates what has been required. So if you want to change the scope, it's a lot more work. Secondly, it's a different column on a budget sheet. Did you know? Because when you're paying for staff, it's one line on a spreadsheet because it's almost like a capital cost, not exactly, but it is because staff are part of your company. Whereas if you're paying a third party to do the work, it's an operational cost. It's different list in the spreadsheet. You can get different benefits. You can get kickbacks, tax versions, etc. So that's why companies are looking at that, because there are some benefits, because it's an operational cost, doesn't appear in your bottom line because you're using it to run your company. And it's clever accounting, let's put it that way.
Yeah, the accountants and the lawyers get a lot of benefit out of the system, but we, the end users, the people driving down the road, and the people getting hammered with ULEZ, the ULEZ scheme was just so offensive. I can really understand why there are I don't know what they're actually called, ULEZ warriors or something. There's a bunch of people
who go and mash up the cameras, don't they?
Who they go and destroy the cameras, and I think they're heroes because this ULEZ it's really offensive. And by the way, you start watching people and you start taxing them like this. For me, it's a thin edge of the wedge. It's like, where are we going to go from here? Because someone's going to have another bright idea. Well, Tony's wearing new spuds or whatever they're called, clothes today. He's looking really, really snappy. Well, there's a new snappy dressing thing, tax. And the thing about it is that in the UK, you get home and there's a letter waiting for you. You just and the letter says, "Yeah, okay, we noticed that you were in new spuds the other day. By the way, they look fabulous. Well done. But that will be 50 quid."
Yeah,
and you're like,
tax.
"What?"
I know.
It's creeping. It's getting into everything.
Well, we touched on it on a previous show. There's no removing laws or removing, taking away old stuff, old laws, and replacing them with new ones. What seems to be the case is it gets added on and added on and added on.
Mm.
So these taxes that were there originally are still being collected. Oh, we'll just add another one, and oh yeah, we just add another one, and so you're getting more and more taxes in subtle ways. So the actual tax burden, as it's been mentioned, is always high, and it's like, why? We're supposed to be more prosperous now.
Mm.
We're generating more money. Why are we being taxed even more? What's that all about? Why are we not reaping the benefits of the turnover of, UK PLC? If we generate, we're a $3 trillion economy, at two trillion in pounds, and if we're generating that much income, how come the people aren't necessarily benefiting from that? They're getting taxed more and more, and it feels, maybe I'm wrong, but it's a feeling that we're being stitched up here. We're not feeling the benefits. I mean, look at all the money we generate, and we're following America. Their health service over there, it's not free. They've got to use insurance to pay it. We're supposed to have a, in quotes, free service, but it's going to the pan because it's just, hemorrhaging money, and it's not giving people the service they want. And going back to the cars, I've got to mention the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, asked his justification why he extended this zone, and he says to tackle air pollution, congestion, and climate emergency. Now, if this is all true, then why was he struggling to provide the actual proof of what these statements were saying? Because he was saying, oh, the air quality is bad, it's serious health issues, asthma, lung disease, and even dementia by the poor air quality. And so a lot of residents say, well, show us the facts. Show us, where's the data? And eventually, he said he provided the data, saying that he commissioned Imperial College London, who came out with this estimation that these deaths between 3,600 and 4,100 in Greater London, i.e. the whole suburbs, due to air pollution. So they're saying that it's prematurely killing people, and especially older people who live in the more affluent suburbs, and they're dying from poor
In the more
air pollution.
affluent suburbs,
Yeah.
well, there'd be lower traffic in the more affluent suburbs, wouldn't there?
No, they're saying that the traffic is still relatively high, and so that pollution is there, so it's killing those people. Hence why they extended the
No, well,
ULEZ
that
out.
doesn't sound right. I'll tell you why.
Go on.
In Zaria, in Nigeria, where I spent a lot of time growing up, there's a road, and that road, from about 9 in the morning, something like that, until maybe 4 or 5 in the afternoon, is covered with a haze, and it's a blue tinged haze that comes from motorcycle exhaust, and it's flipping terrible. I mean, you're there, you're coughing, and and people live there, but everywhere else in Zaria is fine. Now, the reason is that particular road is congested, and it's because vehicles are at a standstill in one place for a while,
long. Yeah.
for too long. That's what causes this
Yeah.
smog and everything. So obviously, if you live in a what do you call
Suburb.
high end suburb, it's not going to be the sort of place where cars hang around on the road outside your house. That's why I'm saying, how come it's them who are suffering and not the people stuck on roads, say
The North Circular, which is hideous.
yeah.
Yeah. You've gone on mute, sir.
Have I really?
Yeah. There you go. You've come back now. You went on mute temporarily. Did you pull out your microphone by
No,
mistake?
something's going wrong here. I don't know. I've been trying to be careful. The N25 is a horror show. Anyway,
M25 is just for the benefit again for our overseas listeners. M25 is a motorway which circles the whole of London,
Mm.
and it is a complete ring, and it's huge. I think
And
it's
if you land
200
at
odd miles.
Heathrow, I believe
Yeah,
most people coming to the country, not most, yeah, I think if you're flying into the country,
yeah. Heathrow
you'll be at
mostly.
Heathrow or Gatwick.
Gatwick.
So and you're going to be on the M25, and then
That's
you will
right.
discover for yourself why we're saying such a
Horrible
horrible
road.
road. But
And
I
there's
was
an
thinking more
internal one
about,
called the North and South Circular,
yeah,
which the idea of the M25 was built because the North Circular and South Circular were two two pieces of a whole ring that used to be a circle of London, but obviously far closer inward. And that was a horror show. So they said we must build a ring road around London that will ease the congestion in London. And so they commissioned this road called the M25 and said it would reduce the traffic in London once we build it. And all the designers went away and came back and said you minimum must be 6 lanes both ways, otherwise it will be a traffic jam. So you haven't actually fixed anything. And the government said no, you're wrong. Three different surveyors, three different big companies that do these things for a living. They came back and all of them said there must be minimum 6 lanes, if not more, to ensure that you get longevity and you're not going to get a problem in a very short period of time. The government, as you know, governments are, no, you're wrong, we're right, you're wrong. 6 lanes is all the budget you'll get. And all the companies that were asked to come up with these figures said, well, it'll clog up within a short period of time. Lo and behold, it's been a car park ever since. Pretty much a horrible traffic jam. And what's worse is you thought it would ease the North Circuit and South Circuit. It hasn't improved them at all. So where the hell's all this extra traffic coming from? It's incredible.
there's a theory that if you build capacity, people will fill it.
Yeah, but
Do you remember? You might not, because maybe you're a youngster for all I know.
I don't know about
I
that.
remember back in the 80s when my friend said to me, I've just bought myself a 1 GB hard drive.
Yeah.
And I was like, what for?
So
What are you gonna do with 1 GB? You're just wasting your money.
Yeah.
I've got I believe it's 400 gigs, and I'm running out of space. I'm running out of space now. Because you find stuff. So I guess
but that's because you see that I get that argument because people were saying, well, if you get a waste bin, right, it's always filling up, of course. You just get a bigger waste bin, but then that will fill up too. That's because it's new stuff. Remember, the UK has only got a finite number of cars. It's not like the cars are going to all of a sudden double and treble in 3 or 4 years. You've only got a certain number of drivers. And so this argument that the traffic will double and treble, because that's some of the horror stories they were saying,
I think
it's not actually true. It's not.
no, I think people wouldn't drive into London previously.
Maybe not.
You drive up to Watford and then get out of Watford, jump on the train, and then train it into London. But you're thinking, yeah, the M25's there. Yeah, I'll just pop down the M25. Especially people who don't. I mean, before I understood what was going on, I used to look at the map and go, because I was contracting, I was moving around all space, and I go, oh, okay, all right,
I can get there.
Oh, I'll just go down, pop on the M25, go on this, and then, and if you haven't done it a couple of times, the first time you think it's I wonder what happened today. Well, there was a problem with the M25, and then you do it another day, another problem, and then the third day go, oh, so there's an actual blooming car park here. Okay, and then some other people don't have a choice. You work at Heathrow, you've got to go down that road.
But it is so horrible. It is just, it's pointless. You have to avoid it at all costs, because if you go there any sort of part of the day, you've got to plan several hours ahead, because there's going to be a problem.
Yeah, but I don't think you can avoid it. That's the problem, isn't it?
I know. I mean, A
Oh,
week or
you
so
drive into
ago.
London, then you pay blooming
Can't.
Khan. You blame his blooming £17 annoying ULEZ thing.
Well, strange you should say that. The other day, my wife and I were going down to London to watch a rugby game at Twickenham. Now, Twickenham is just outside of this ULEZ scheme. Okay. So I thought, oh, okay, so I don't have to pay. I can go around the M25 in plenty of time, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so we set off hours before, hoping to get down to London in our seat, maybe 2 hours before the game, so we can, look around, get something
Mm.
to eat, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, what happened as we were going down towards London? My sat nav had to divert me into London and
Oof.
not round the M25 because there'd been some major hold up. So I had to go into London in the end anyway and try and navigate through there. And I was going, oh no, not only am I going through London just to avoid the M25, but I may have to be snaffled for this ULEZ fee that I hadn't anticipated for. So it was awful. And we got there in the end, but literally 10 minutes before the game was going to start.
Wow.
So we lost over 2 hours in journey time to do 57 miles. I
Ridiculous.
mean, that's just mad.
And the trains are awful over weekends anyway.
Oh,
Anyway, so what is this? There's another scheme that a lot of people are upset about, but I don't know that much about it. It's called the paper mile or something.
oh yeah, it's paper drive basically. You're driving per mile. So your usage, rather than having a tax where we all get, if you own a car, you've got to pay a yearly tax based on the size of your car. But the idea is pay per drive. So you pay per the mileage that you do.
Mm.
And it's supposed to, in quotes, be even less than what you're paying for tax now. And you know that is not true. You just know it's not
There's
true.
no government that really wants to help out and ask you to pay less.
No.
So the mere fact that they're saying that means that they're lying through their teeth
Yeah.
as usual.
Because what can they change? The pay per mile limit. That could start off at 1p per mile tax.
Mm.
And you know that in a few months' time, oh no, we need to up it to 10p per mile. And it's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
People just won't drive. It's trying to drive people off the road effectively.
Well, you say that, but where was it? Oh, right. Let me try to get this right. Now, I know New Zealand have phased out smoking.
Yeah, for kids, isn't it?
For kids. So as the kids get older, if you were born if you were born before
2000.
Before a certain year, you can smoke. But if you were born after that, they reckon, well, you never smoked, you can't miss it.
Yeah.
So you might as well not start. So they're going to eventually just phase it out. But they've done that, and then they've realized how much tax they're losing. So they've done something else, which in other countries when I can't remember exactly the details. It's like, this isn't it. Okay, I can't remember exactly what it is, but let's say it's like this. What they've done is, oh, okay, you can't smoke, but you can drink from 14. Something. It's something crazy like that. Like, the money. Oh yeah.
I actually put a post up about that. Did you not see a jokey post on Facebook regarding that, where it was in Germany, you can drink at 16.
Oh yeah.
And
was that you?
That was me.
Oh.
And in UK and France and places like that, it's 18. But in the US, it's 21.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the final meme was from a Scottish kid. He goes, "You mean you have an age limit?"
Yeah.
You gotta love the Scots. I mean, that's fantastic. But yeah, so start drinking young. Forget your breast milk here. Have some, brew or whatever it is.
Burn. Burn is Newcastle, isn't it? It's Geordie.
Yeah.
Burn. Yes. Anyway, so paper mile, again, thin edge of the wedge. Sure, it will start off exactly like you said, 1p.
Yeah.
Then it'll be, well, it's 1p if you are an electric vehicle, but if you're a diesel, it's 4.5p. Well, four, yeah, okay, 4p, 5p. However, if it's driving on Sundays
Yeah.
on the motorway, then it isn't. It's actually 16p. And by
Yeah.
the way, if you've got four passenger, they'll just keep
Yeah, it
coming
will.
with
They
different.
call different things to tax people more. And yeah, it's horrible. Horrible. I mean, it's like broadband. A lot of people pay broadband. You pay one amount and it's as much as you can use. Basically, I think
Mhm.
people prefer that because originally there was a pay as you go type service,
Mm.
but clients didn't like it
Mm.
because you didn't know what you're going to end up paying each
Yeah,
month. I'd
mm.
rather get a settled amount, charge me a little bit more, but just
That's right.
fix it and then I'll use as much as I want.
Mm.
That's the, and the road tax at the moment, despite the fact we moan about it, I'd rather pay one fixed figure and know that I can or not drive
Mm.
wherever I want for no additional fee. This pay as you go type method of charging, to me, maybe, I mean, they could probably automate it and they probably will, but to me, that's just horrible because most people, there'll be some people afraid to get in their car, unsure about what their bills are going to be.
Yeah.
So, it's not a good thing, to be fair. I
No, it's
think
not.
it's not a good
And by the
idea.
way, people living in London itself, if it's 17 quid, 17 pounds for me, that's what I believe we pay, 17 pounds the other day when we went into London. Are you telling me that every day you drive around in London as a Londoner, you got to pay 17 pounds? That's basically what, about 500 pounds a week, a month.
Yeah, it's
But that's,
ridiculous.
I mean, that's insane.
I know. There's some nurses who are supposed to be in the community and they have to drive a car, their
Yeah,
own car, and claim it
yeah.
back. And they have to drive to clients.
Hmm.
And how do you do that? You got to pay this stupid charge. I don't know how they got around that and how that works. So
Or get an
they
electric vehicle, I suppose.
well, they can't afford to do it. And it's just horrible. But I mean, okay, I wanna aside from this ULEZ, which for me I'm still not
I think it's
convinced.
disgraceful. I think it's nonsensical. And I don't understand. Again, I insist. I don't believe, I don't see how it's legal. I really don't. You just make up the taxes and just charge everybody. I mean, I up.
They've got a LEZ as well as a ULEZ, you know that, don't you? In London.
No, no, what's the less?
LEZ, low emission zone, and ULEZ, ultra low emission zone.
Wow.
And you've got the tax to
Congestion,
drive in,
congestion,
congestion charge.
congestion charge.
So imagine you're well, the LES applies to lorries, low emission zone applies for lorries, trucks, whatever, but ULEZ is for cars.
Mm.
And plus the congestion. So you could go into central London in your car and have to pay the congestion charge, which is one bill. And if your car doesn't meet the ultra low emission requirements, you've got to pay that as well. So
Yeah.
you're paying 17, I think the congestion charge is 15. So you're paying £32.
Well, I know it as £60 because I've
Is it
driven into
60?
London. No, because I've driven into London twice. This was maybe 3, 4, maybe before COVID.
Okay.
And I thought I was fine because I thought if you avoided the roads that are painted red, that you didn't have a problem. Because I didn't know the details. I just thought, oh, the red bits are where you get charged. And each time I drove, I got home. 3, 4 days later, a letter
A
arrived saying,
letter with a bill.
you
You
owe
haven't
us 60
paid.
pounds.
Wow. Yeah, it's not good, is it? Not
And I'm
good.
like, I don't live in London. I don't know you anything, man. He's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I
But I
know.
don't know. Some people say they don't pay, but the
No.
lawyer online said you can get away with it for a while, but ultimately, eventually, it will come and get you, and
Hmm.
that you should pay.
Yeah.
Is what he was saying.
There's another thing that they've done. They used to have if you went over Queen Mary Bridge, which is on the M25, it's it starts at junction 1 near there, and there's a bridge because it has to go across the river. So they built this bridge on the M25.
Mm.
And if you cross that, if you go that way round, you used to pay because it was a toll road. So you had the toll booths, you go in, you pay, and you cross, and that's a charge. So you had that charge there. But what they did, they automated it.
Mm.
They put an automatic number plate
Just
recognition system, yeah. And they had a little sign where these toll booths used to be that says you must pay online. Now, if you're driving past there at 50 or 70, you got this little sign. How the hell do you see this sign and know what to do? How do you know? And so if you don't pay that fee, which is it wasn't expensive, it's only about £5, you get a bill of £90. And that's exactly what happened. I don't live in London. I got this all of a sudden. I drove. I was going, where's these booths? I got to pay to get across this bridge. Maybe you don't have to pay anymore. I didn't see anything. So lo and behold, I got home. A few days later, a letter turned up. You owe us £90 for not paying the toll road. I'm like, £90? What? And I said, show me the sign. Where's the sign? Oh, we've told people the signs are on there. And somebody on YouTube actually put a video of them driving along the road. And he's talking over the video, and you can see him in the passenger seat. So he's driving along. He goes, let's see where the sign is. Right? And you're driving along, and then, yeah, we're looking, you're looking. And he goes, you've missed it, haven't you? We're like, what do you mean, what sign? What sign? He goes, so he reversed. He goes, I'm going to reverse the video. And he reversed the video, and I'm going to slow it down. And so he slowed it down. He goes, can you see the sign now? And you're looking. You still can't see the sign. And then what he does, I'll reverse it again, and I'll show you again, and I'll highlight the sign. And he drew a circle so you could see where it was. He goes, how are you supposed to read that? And it was like, so I actually used that video on my claim. I actually said, I'm not paying because, the sign's not clear enough. And they said, well, we've told everybody in London. I went,
no, I don't live in London.
I was just passing through. And I sent them the video. I said, look, where's the sign? And after a week or so, I heard nothing. And then they got in touch with me and said, okay, just pay us the £5 fee and we'll let you off. And so I just ended up paying the fee. And that was it. I got out of it.
I remember having it's an aside. I remember having a T-shirt a long time ago made for me. And it had small lettering. And what it said was, if you can read this, you're standing too close, back off. And I think it's something very similar to your sign. If you can read this, you're blocking traffic behind you. How dare you? It's like, it's obviously a ripoff. It's something about our British system. It's almost, and we go along with it. It's almost gamified that the government tries to hammer us and we try to find a way out. But it's not really a responsible way of running a country or being a good citizen.
No.
And you were talking about ULEZ. If I've paid my road tax, I think that road tax should take care of London's or any other regions.
You would have thought so. Yeah, it should be. Yeah,
there shouldn't be any extra charges because I believe there's a road now in Birmingham, I believe.
Yeah,
there's a road in Birmingham now
toll road
that has this. No, is it?
Yeah, toll road.
No, I think it's a road now. If you drive down there, you have to pay like a congestion charge or something.
No, there's a toll road. There's the M6 toll.
Yeah, no, that's not in Birmingham. I'm talking about inside Birmingham.
It is in Birmingham.
Oh, it is in Birmingham.
Yeah, the M6 toll is. Yeah, it gets you around the congestion of the M6 because the M6 is a bit of a horrible motorway.
You're talking about it. You're talking about something that's outside Birmingham. It's you and I had to. I don't know if you went that way. When we went up to Manchester.
Yeah,
I had to pay. I paid the toll.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know anything because I don't really plan that well. Okay, I trust my sat nav. And then I got there, it was like pay the toll. I was like, well, what? Because I forgot to tell it. Don't use toll roads. And then when afterwards on the way home, I was like, don't use toll roads. And then I regretted it. I was like, well, I should just have used the blooming toll road, man.
I
Damn
know,
it.
because you pay £9 to get on this M6 toll road.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it does save you.
It saves you a lot of time. So on the way back, I was like, okay, next time, just pay the
Next time,
blooming
just
toll, man.
pay it.
But
Oh
that's not
boy.
inside Birmingham. That's not what I'm talking about.
Oh,
There's this road inside Birmingham. I happen to know the road because I contracted there for a while. And that
okay.
it's like a main road, a major road inside Birmingham itself. And
Okay.
apparently, if you're on there, it's like the London thing. You ought to have paid online or something to use it at certain times of the day or whatever. And there was a big fuss about it because a lot of people were like, "Oh, what, man? I paid my road tax, man. I don't need that." And what about people just passing through? You know nothing about it, just passing through Birmingham.
I mean, I get the fact that, you know, they have to deal with congestion somehow. How do you then stop people using a particular route more than they should? So I get the fact that some roads will have to have an additional fee. It's to prevent people from then overusing it, because it could be a shorter route. So instead of people going a longer route, you know what humans are like. Well, let's go down this road. It shouldn't, not necessary, but we'll do it anyway because it's shorter. So if that then causes congestion and frustrates the people living there, they're going to complain. And so the local government or the government centrally will somehow put some calming measures in. So if you use this road and you're not supposed to, guess what? You're going to pay extra. And that's part of the challenge. So I know we're moaning about, you know, Khan and his methods with ULEZ, etc. But if it does actually help congestion, because there's no way of building a ring road to avoid the traffic anyway, then I can see some reasons for introducing things like this. But it just seems too heavy-handed, and it's too, you know,
just
with
make it all
ANPR,
one way.
guess
Make
what?
it all one way with exits. And here's the interesting thing: if you miss your exit, you've got a 20-mile trek to get back. You've got a 20-mile trek to go all the way back and start all over again.
Oh, wow.
You know, you do that, and then people will say, "What we're going to do here, Tony, is we're going to drive up to Birmingham New Street." And then hop into a cab and let the cab handle it. We don't want to know about this thing. There's your calming measure.
Well,
there are ways of leaning on
there's
the.
ways of doing it. Yeah,
there are ways if you want to, but they don't want to. What they really want, they want your money. They want
they
you
want
to
your
pay
money.
this. It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not acceptable, to be honest.
Right. I'm gonna, because we're getting closer to the top of the hour, I wanted to quickly cover these gripes. These are general motoring gripes that are in the UK, and one in particular is potholes. I mean, that is a real big annoyance for drivers because you're mashing up your car tires and the roads are just not being looked after. And it's supposed to be a local government issue, and they don't have money. And that's one of the first things they you know, forego, because it's expensive to fix, and, you know, their money's used elsewhere. And so potholes are a major annoyance to a lot of drivers, which you can see that being a case. Already touched on it. Second one is traffic congestion, when you're sitting in traffic jams forever. And half the battle in traffic jams is communication. A lot of people don't know why the congestion is there. If there was some way of an app on your phone or something through the radio that linked, it could detect where you were and explain immediately, oh, this is due to this because there's been two cars had an accident here. If you can get off the road, I would recommend. That is communication. This is part of the challenge. Communication. If we were given that information, there will be less stress in congestion for people, because they're sitting there frustrated because you just don't know what's happening. Why are you being held up? Your sat nav might go red, but that's all it does. It doesn't tell you the cause, because sometimes it could be red on a motorway and all of a sudden it goes green and there's nothing there. And you're like, what's
it's moved, brother. It's just moved. Yeah, but I'll tell you what it is. Well, no, I won't tell you what they all are. I've been saying to my wife for a while, I said, because there was an accident the other day on the A45. The other day, it was yesterday or the day before. What's the day? Anyway, so I was driving on A45, and I was driving towards Wellingborough, and yeah, we all slowed down in this, and I thought, oh my God, what is it? Turned out it was on the other side of the road. There
So
had been
rubbernecking.
there had been a serious accident. And my suggestion to the police is, look, when there's a serious accident, please take a curtain with you
Yeah.
and railing and just curtain it off. And nobody can see anything so that people don't slow down, because
have a
there's
look.
no reason for people to
Yeah.
be slowing down and just going, oh, just. And
It's called rubbernecking.
yeah, rubbernecking, and they don't care about the people behind they don't care. They
Just want to
just
see what's going on.
they just want to see what's going on. So I just say, you know what, just cover it up, and if people can't see anything, because it's really not none of your business.
Yeah,
I mean, how's it your business? And drive on. One of the
that's
worst
true.
one of the worst traffic jams I was with was coming up the. I don't think it was the M25.
Oh,
No,
right.
it was M something. I don't know what M it was. This is from Bristol into London.
M4.
I believe you're right, in the M4. And there was this god awful, like 5 mile traffic jam. Do you know what it was?
What?
A blooming woman in a tight bodice with great knockers, with a broken down car, standing by her stinking car on the other side of the blooming road. She wasn't even standing on our side of the road. This is what extra annoyed me. She's not even on our side of the road. Don't you people have access to porn on the internet or something? What the hell is so special about this? Do you drive on? And I had taken the wrong turn on the M4. I shouldn't even have been going into London. I was trying to get back into Northampton. So I'm late. I'm hungry. I'm tired. It was a Friday because I was coming back from Bristol. I used to stay over the week. So I just wanted to get back home. And when you work away from home, you don't want to waste time, because you want to get home to your family bosom. And it's all you clowns. Haven't you seen a woman before? Oh my God. I was so mad. I really hated men at that time. I was a misandrist for.
Oh dear. Right. I want to finish on one that is an annoyance of mine, is people not getting fined, or we're not aware they're getting fined. So motorways tend to have speed limits, and some drivers, I'm not even going to mention my esteemed friend and colleague, who feel that they are exempt of these speed limits. But what I would love to be able to see is be on my dash to tell me when they've been fined. So it'll come up, flash, this number plate, yep, fined. Yes. So I get a small little satisfaction that I'm actually staying within the speed limit, whereas these other people that choose to go faster than the designated speed, are caught and fined. Now, I wouldn't go far as flogging, but it wouldn't be bad that their number plate would appear on the dash saying another one caught, another one caught. It would give some peace to the drivers that they have obeyed the speed limit and have been in a weird way rewarded for doing so, by seeing somebody who's flatly gone against the speed limit penalized in real time. That is what I asked for. So if the Transport Secretary of the UK ever hears this, maybe tunes into our show, that is a Christmas request from me to you, to somehow make that happen, so all motorists in real time will see the number plate of cars that have been penalized on the motorway.
You don't need that. I just need to pay attention. Just outside junction 15 on the M1 here at Northampton, headed towards Milton Keynes, but it's on the return on. Well, no, both sides of the motorway. What you do see, you don't see anyone, you don't get a message flash up, anything, but what you do see is lights flash. What do you call it?
The security camera, the speed cameras flash.
Yeah, and you can sometimes you can hear it go pop pop.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, well, the guy's been caught now, and then strangely, what he does is that he slows down. Dude, you caught. There's no need to slow down. Just keep hammering it, man. And then you're ever so grateful because you're barreling down yourself, and it goes poop in front of you. Go, oh right, slow down. Thanks, fella, for you took one for the team. You took one for the team, but yeah.
Oh, dear.
And
right,
then
Go on, we've reached the top of the hour now. Do you want to
Okay.
sum up on this? Unfortunately, we could keep going on for ages.
ULEZ is a terrible, terrible scheme. It is immoral. I genuinely, I mean that. I think it's wrong. It's wrong on many levels, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be allowed.
I
It's got to
mean,
go. To be honest.
I'm not a fan, I'll be honest, but I can see if it does cause some congestion. The air pollution bit wishy-washy for me, but I can see them imposing things if it does cause congestion. Like I said, regarding some drivers, they just want to take the quickest route, even if it's not the right route. So I get it, but using ULEZ as a cover, to me, that's a bit weak.
Mm.
Anyway, if you've loved this episode, please hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into prophecies, mysteries, and the unexpected twists of fate. You've listened to Tony and Tayo, and we are the TNT Talk Show. But unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show for another week.